Okay, let's get to it. Let's talk about structure. So, when we talk about structure, we're talking about how we protect our priorities. So, we need structure. We need something in place that helps us to protect what we have determined is important. So, we have talked over the last few weeks about planning. We've talked about showing up with intention. We've talked about who we need to be in terms of our identity, how we're evolving as individuals, as business owners, as leaders into that success and adopting and bringing in that identity shift to take us into that next level. We've talked about performance and the discipline, the motivation, how you can be more consistent, how you can show up to get the results that you want from the plan that you have made. So, the last part of the framework is looking at structure. So, we need that structure in place to bring everything together to make sure to enable all of the things that we planned, all of the things that we have shown that intention of what we want to do. We need to make sure that we have a structure that protects what we have determined is a priority. So, without structure, urgency will always win over importance. So it doesn't matter how much in terms of the plan we've thought about it in the planning stage, which often if you plan every 90 days or plan once a month, we don't have in the front of our mind what our priorities are for that day or for that week that are going to help us to stay on track. So that means on a day-to-day basis, when things come in, we are likely to work on the urgent tasks rather than the important ones. So, one of the frameworks that I also support clients with is using the Eisenhower matrix to look at where they're working, to look at where they're spending their time, to make sure that they're spending their time in that important but not yet urgent quadrant, because we want to make sure that where we are spending our time is moving ourselves forward, that we are spending time on the tasks that are going to take us closer to the goal and the success that we are aiming for, but also that we're following the plan that we've made. If we don't follow the plan, then we're just wasting the time that we have spent on creating the plan. So we need to make sure that we are showing up, that we're following the plan, and that we are not working on just what comes in or the shiny stuff that takes our attention, that we're spending our time on working the things that we have determined are important, not what others and that external influence is determining is important. So, when we have a structure in place, that can really help us to stop reacting and start leading. So, this is not about a leadership role. This is about self leadership. This is about how we show up and lead ourselves within our businesses, within the roles that we have, and when in life as well. We want to make sure that we are leading ourselves in the way that we want to, that we are showing up in alignment with our values, that we are showing up for the things that are most important to us. And we're not living a life under somebody else's leadership and following their priorities and their goals. We want to make sure that we have that self leadership. That means that we are leading ourselves on this thing, on this journey that we call life, and that we are going where we want to go. Now, that sounds quite selfish when you say it like that. It sounds quite harsh. And there will be some negotiation with the others in our world that are most important to us. There will be some understanding of that other people also have their own priorities, and that's how we communicate and we work together to support that. But it's that balance of I'm okay, you're okay. So we will have our own priorities and they will have theirs, and the more we communicate that, the more that we show that understanding and we listen to understand, the more we can look at how our structure and their structure can combine together so that we're both moving towards where we want to go, and that we are able to support what the other has determined is a priority. And there will be some shared priorities within that as well. But we need to make sure that we are firstly very clear on what our priorities are, and secondly that we have that structure in place that protects them. So, structure doesn't always mean a rigid routine. And I think a lot of people think, or certainly have a limiting belief that if they are too structured, it is too rigid. But actually, structure can be flexible rather than restrictive. When we have a structure in place, it is that framework. It really is just the structure. It's not everything that is within that structure. But when we have that level of routine that has that flexibility, that allows for contingency, then we have a structure that is flexible. So it's not about having a rigid routine. Now, as humans, we tend to be creatures of habit. So actually, routines work well for a lot of us because as humans, we like that level of certainty. We like to know what's coming. We like to be able to predict. We like that certainty, but we also like variety. So, this is where the two can often clash together because we want the certainty, we also want the variety. And when we create a structure that allows for that, that means we are ticking the boxes for our human psychological needs of both of those things. We've got certainty, we've got variety, and it means then we're also ticking the boxes for personal growth as well. So, structure doesn't always mean rigid routines, and so structure should support your freedom, not fight it. The more you are able to put that structure in place, the more you're creating that freedom to do the things that you want to do, to make sure that the things that are a priority for you are, in fact, prioritized. So you need systems that help to make your decisions easier. One of the biggest things with overwhelm at the moment that comes up a lot is decision fatigue. Now, if you have a role, whether that's in leadership or in business, where you are making decisions a lot and you're making decisions all the time, then you are going to have that decision fatigue. So the more we can make those decisions upfront, the more we can create a structure where the decisions are made early and they're made at that stage where they are logical planning decisions rather than emotionally led decisions, the easier it is for us to follow the plan without having to make even more decisions. So if we've created the plan and we've got a structure in place that allows the plan to happen, we don't need to make a decision on what needs to be done. That decision was already made when we made the plan. We just need to show up today and do what we said we were going to do. And certainly for those of us who are in the public sector, that's what we're really good at. So I know a lot of you here are from the public sector, and so this is a huge strength for us. We are very used to doing what we said we were going to do because the whole of the public sector relies on that. So it's something we're very good at doing in life, in leadership, and in business. So the more we can put the system in place to remove additional decisions that are often unnecessary, the better things flow, and we are less likely to have that overwhelm and that decision fatigue. So think about when, where, and how things need to happen, not just what. You can use batching, you can use time blocking, you can use automations. There are so many tools and resources out there now that really help with us. Help with that. So we've got smartphones, we've got smart devices, if we choose to use them in a smart way and not just as a distraction mechanism. So look at what is most important to you. Look at what you want to have in place and think about the rhythm that you want to have within your routines and your structure that's going to help you to stay focused even when life gets noisy. You want to be able to remove as many distractions as possible. You want to be able to work to your peak energy levels. So if you are creative in the morning, you want to make space to be creative in the morning. If you are best with people in the afternoon, that's the structure you want to follow for the majority of your client work. You have the freedom to be able to do that and make it work for you. Boundaries are also a big part of structure. So it's another way of protecting the things that are most important to you. When we talk about boundaries, we're talking about the invisible line between us and other people that protects, respects, and preserves the things that are most important to us. So it is our responsibility to protect them and preserve them. And when we communicate with others, we are asking them to respect what we feel is important. And the communication is a big part of that. We can't make people respect that boundary. We can only ask them to respect what is important to us. And sharing why that's important to us is a big part of that. But boundaries protect your energy, they will protect your creativity, and ultimately, it's going to protect your well being as well. Having that battle with other people around what's important to you versus what's important to them can be a huge drain on your emotional energy. So, the more we're able to create clear boundaries, in work, in business, with clients, at home, the more we're able to show up as we want to show up, knowing that we are protecting and preserving what's important to us, and knowing that those who are around us are also respecting that, and that we are doing that for them as well. So think about what's getting your best energy and what's getting your energy that shouldn't. How do you need to put boundaries in as part of your structure? So ultimately, your structure should reflect the life that you want to build. So think about your current structure. Is it supporting your vision and your mission and what it is that you are trying to achieve? Or is it ultimately sabotaging it? You want to build a structure that supports both your personal and professional success. The two need to run in line because both are equally as important. Now, it might be that on different days you will adjust that, and it might be that you'll have different seasons of life where life and home takes priority. And sometimes something will be going on in work where you need to invest a little bit more energy and attention and focus in work. And so you're adapting that balance to be able to do that. But ultimately, you want the structure to protect what you feel is important in life. This is what aligned success is all about. It's not about having to choose this or that. It's not about having to choose one or the other. It's the power of and. I want to be able to be successful in my career, and I want to be present as a parent and as a partner. I want to be successful and build a really successful business or get to that next promotion and that next level in leadership. But I don't want to do that at the sacrifice of my health and well-being or my work-life balance. So it's the power of and. You want to be able to find a structure that reflects and supports and protects the life that you want to build so that you can have this and that. Because when you've got a structure in place, when you're planning, and when you've then got the structure to support it, you can have this and that. You can have both. So think about where your current structure needs to be amended and adapted to support your vision. Think about where it is currently sabotaging what you want, and think about how you can build that structure that supports you and your world, both personally and professionally. Use your structure to make your default behaviors the aligned ones. Find a way to create that structure that means it supports your habits and your behaviors that are in this identity of this new version of you that you are working towards. Think about how you want life to be and create a structure around that. So, with that being said, here is your reflection to take away and have a think about. If your calendar was a reflection of your priorities, your values, and your energy, what would you change in the next 7 days? If your calendar was a reflection of your priorities, your values, and your energy, what would you change over the next 7 days? I would love to hear what you think. Feel free to pop your comments and your thoughts in the comments section below. I would love to hear them. It's been great to talk through structure with you this week. If you have any questions, feel free to also pop them into the comments section and I will be more than happy to answer them. If you haven't got a copy of the PIIPS Framework, I will pop the link into the comments so that you can download the free ebook and get access to that, there is a workshop that runs on pretty much every other month, and you are very welcome to join that too. If you want the details, let me know and I will share those with you. For now, have a think about your structure. Have a think about where you can make some changes to support your success and the life that you are working towards. And I will speak to you very soon.